Our next presentation will be presented by Mr. Rohan Roberts, Head of Future Learning at GEMS Education, UAE. Rohan will be exploring the impact of artificial intelligence and future school models. Looking forward to your presentation, Rohan, and over to you.
Great. Thank you, Rebecca. As we're waiting for our slides, the focus of this talk is on the impact of artificial intelligence and future educational models. Now, we are now in the midst of what's being described as the fourth industrial revolution. We're seeing a coming together of the digital, physical, and biological realms. And there are four broad drivers that are driving this fourth industrial revolution. And let's take a quick look at some of these four drivers of the fourth industrial revolution. The first is the Internet of Things. This is the vast system of interconnected devices that communicate with each other using the internet. So we're talking about the ability for your smartphone to communicate with your smart watch, to communicate with your smart car. The next driver of the fourth industrial revolution is cloud computing. This is the ability to store and process data on remote servers, where previously we used to only be able to do it on our personal laptops. And then you have big data. These are vast amount of data. These are extremely large data sets that can be computationally analyzed, make predictions about human behavior, and observe trends in human interactions. But by far the most important driver of the fourth industrial revolution is exponential technologies. Now, any technology that's an information technology or a digital technology is growing at an exponential rate. So we're talking about things like genetics, nanotechnology, robotics, quantum computing, brain mapping and brain scanning, VR, AR, 3D printers, sensors, drones, and so on. These are all examples of exponential technologies, and they're growing at an exponential rate. But by far, the exponential technology that will have the biggest impact on the human condition is artificial intelligence. And so let's take a look at what some thinkers and futurists have to say about the impact of AI. Thomas Friedman is the Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist who says, whatever can be outsourced and automated will be outsourced and automated. To this, Kevin Kelly, who is the founder of Wired magazine, adds, whatever can be done by AI will be done by AI. Peter Diamandis, who is the co-founder of Singularity University, adds to this and says, AI will have a bigger impact on the human condition than did the discovery and invention of electricity and fire. So we're now in the midst of what's being described as the cognifying revolution. Everything that can be electrified will soon be cognified. In other words, everything that has electricity today will have some form of artificial intelligence tomorrow. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's important to distinguish between narrow, general, and super AI. Narrow AI is the ability of an AI system to do just one thing. It could be to play chess or translate a language. General AI is a single AI system that can do many things, translate a language, communicate with you, play chess, direct air traffic control, drive a car, and so on. At the moment, we only have narrow AI. We don't have general AI, but we're getting there very soon. Super AI, however, is, we don't have that right now, but it is a general AI that is vastly more intelligent than humans and vastly more capable. But most futurists say it's just a matter of time before we have a super AI system. Now, as educators, it's important to ask ourselves what we mean by intelligence. And intelligence is the ability to create products of value in society and solve problems. And that brings us to Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, which says that there are different ways of being intelligent. So the ability to sing and dance, the ability to play music and sports, to emote and role play, to sympathize and empathize, to reflect and introspect. These are all different ways of being intelligent. So what I'd like to do over the next few minutes is to make a comparison between artificial intelligence and multiple intelligences, and indicate how we already have AI systems exhibiting many intelligences that we thought were uniquely human. So you have IBM's Watson, which is capable of exhibiting linguistic intelligence. You have Boston Dynamics, which is able to exhibit bodily kinesthetic intelligence. You have Ava, which is an AI system that can make music and is thus exhibiting artificial musical intelligence. And you have smart agents like Siri, Cortana, and Amazon Alexa exhibiting interpersonal intelligence, the ability to have conversations with people. Perhaps the most common is logical mathematical intelligence that is being exhibited by AlphaGo and IBM's Deep Blue. And finally, you have visuospatial intelligence being exhibited by Google's DeepMind and Prisma. Now, I'd like to linger for a bit on visuospatial intelligence, because we thought for the longest time that the ability to make art was a uniquely human trait. Consider Memories of Passers-by One, an AI system that generates an endless stream of portraits of people who've never existed. This system generates an endless stream of portraits, and it's done with no human creativity. It's an AI system that generates new faces, and it was sold at the Sotheby's auction for over £40,000. And then you have Portrait of Edmund Bellamy, which is another painting created by an AI system that was sold at Christie's auction house for over $400,000. And finally, you have the next Rembrandt. This is an AI system that analyzed every single Rembrandt painting and then created a brand new one, and it printed it in 3D so you can literally feel the brush strokes on the painting. Now, if this isn't impressive, then consider these faces. Every single one of these faces was generated by an AI system. None of these people exist. None of these human beings are real. Consider the impact of this technology on things like the gaming industry, virtual reality, the sports industry, the modeling and fashion industry, journalism, and so on. So now let's take a look at some of the intelligences for which we don't have AI. We've looked at intelligences for which we already have AI. Here are three intelligences that are still uniquely human and for which we don't have AI. The first is intrapersonal intelligence, the ability to introspect, reflect. This is an intelligence that is exhibited by the thinkers and philosophers, the ability to introspect. Then you have a pedagogical intelligence or teaching smart. This is the ability to convey knowledge and understanding from one mind to another mind. We don't really have any AI system that can do this. And thirdly, and perhaps my favorite, is existential intelligence, the ability to ask the big questions. Who are we? Where do we come from? Why are we here? What is our purpose? Is there life after death? All these big, grand questions falls under the umbrella of existential intelligence, and there are no AI systems at the moment, at least for now, that can answer these questions. And so moving forward, humanics is a brand new area of study that will have an impact on humanity and on education. This field of study, humanics, has three broad areas: technical ability, the ability to work with machines, data discipline, the ability to make sense of the vast amount of data being generated by our machines, and finally, human literacy, all the things that only humans can do for now. So all this may sound a bit frightening, but it doesn't have to be a Terminator scenario. It's not a case of the machines coming to destroy us, the cyborgs coming to get us. It's not going to be a case of us versus them. We're going to be them. We're going to merge with our technologies. And this is already happening. We are outsourcing our cognition to our devices. And Centaur chess, a hybrid form of chess, where humans and chess humans and machines play against other humans and other machines. And this hybrid form of chess is what we're witnessing now. And that has made humans even better at chess. In fact, the number of chess grandmasters has doubled in the last 2 decades. So moving forward, it will be vital for us to focus on new mindsets, new ethics, and a new sense of morality as we're surrounded by these emerging technologies. But before looking forward, let's look to the past. The hunter-gatherer age lasted for a few million years. The agricultural age lasted for a few thousand years. The industrial age lasted for a couple of hundred years, and the information age lasted a few decades. We're now at the cusp or at the dawn of what's being described as the augmented age. This is an age where we will merge with our technologies, and we will use computational technologies to enhance how we think, robotic systems to enhance how we create, and digital biological systems to enhance our bodies and our neural system. So these are exciting times. We're at the cusp of a new age, and who knows what the future holds. But in order to prepare our students for this world of exponential technologies and accelerating change, what we've done here at GEMS is we co-created a global futures curriculum with Singularity University. And the idea is and the aim of the program and the curriculum is to give our students the right mindsets and thinking toolkits they need to survive and adapt to this world of accelerating change. But let's look at some of the other schools around the world that are adapting to this new environment of accelerating change and exponential technologies. So let's start with Orestad High School in Denmark. Now, Orestad is, I would recommend Orestad for their innovative learning spaces. They have open studying environments instead of traditional classrooms, and they're heavily focused on media communications, and all their teaching material is digital, and the focus is on collaborative learning. Next, we have the Green School of Bali, which has an innovative purpose. They're focused on an organic lifestyle. They teach their students lessons from nature. There is an emphasis on empathy and sustainability, and they prepare their students to be stewards of the planet. In fact, Ban Ki-moon, the former Secretary General of the United Nations, said it's one of the most impressive schools that he's been to. Then we have the Waldorf School of the Peninsula, which has innovative teaching and learning methods. They're focused on low-tech, not high-tech. The emphasis is on creativity. They encourage their students to learn through play, and they have an experiential curriculum. And it's not just about memorizing facts. And next we have innovative vision and leadership. And here you have Raya Bichari, who's the founder and CEO of O Academy, one of the more impressive future-focused educational organizations out there, with an incredible future-focused interdisciplinary curriculum as well. And Raya has been chosen by the BBC as their 100 most influential and inspiring women in the world for 2019. And finally, you have the Knowledge Society, which is based out of Canada. And what they do is they equip their students with skills for the future. They emphasize on the use of emerging technologies. They offer their students mentorships and internships, and create unique opportunities for their students from around the world by connecting them with a global community of educators. So the question is, what does the future hold? Ray Kurzweil, who is the director of engineering at Google and has been described by Bill Gates as one of the best predictors of future technologies in the world, Ray Kurzweil says in the next 100 years, we will see the equivalent of 20,000 years worth of progress. So it's very hard to say how the future will look in the coming decades. But what we can say is that it's important to focus on skills. And perhaps one of the best books I can recommend is by Tony Wagner. It's called Creating Innovators, The Making of Young People Who Will Change the World. And in this book, he has conversations with principals of schools, deans of universities, captains of industry, CEOs of big companies, and he identifies 7 critical 21st century survival skills. And these are also transferable skills that our students will need as they enter the workforce in the coming years and in the coming decades. So that brings me to the end of this brief talk on the impact of AI and new educational models. And there's so much more to discuss. I cover these points in much more detail in my book, Cosmic Citizens and Moonshot Thinking, the impact of exponential technologies on education. It's available on Amazon. Please feel free to reach out to me on email if you have any questions or would like to have a conversation about some of the things you heard in the last 20 minutes. Thank you for listening, and hope to connect in the future.
Thank you very much. Very interesting. We'll be moving on to our next presentation now. Please join us in the next session.